Today's informational window is for everyone who thinks meditation is not for them. People often have false assumptions about meditation and don't realize how much they could benefit from it in their everyday lives. And honestly, it's about some pretty big stuff. Today, we'll look at two examples of what meditation actually looks like to help you understand what's completely normal and where a long term practice can lead. And at the end, I'll introduce you to a magical little window of choice that can help you navigate new possibilities and create your own reality. So, to start, you need to know, I think, meditation has a terrible marketing. Not because the product is not worth it, but because it's a bit like when someone tells you to train your deep core muscles, when all you wanted was visible abs. And you get annoyed because who cares that your core keeps your spine and body together when you don't have any problems with it yet? And you just want it to look good in bikini, right? All this resentment usually exists because meditation sounds too spiritual, all about enlightenment, or it makes people think of monks in the mountains or Eastern religions. Many people simply don't think it's for them, or they tried it once and thought, just sit and breathe? Really? Most people only try meditation when they're exhausted or they can't sleep. They're overwhelmed, they're anxious, or they feel like they're drowning in their own thoughts. But even if you don't have any of these problems, you can benefit from meditation immensely. Let's forget about monks, spirituality, and religion for a moment and look at an everyday struggle we all know. Think about that last school or work project you weren't really keen to do, but you knew it would take way more time than you'd ever spend with it, like voluntarily. Maybe your bachelor's thesis or a work report. It takes an incredibly huge amount of effort to even sit down for a moment to start. But you finally do. You sit down, and 5 minutes later, you hear a notification on your phone, and automatically you reach for it. You check one message, and suddenly you spend half an hour watching reels, and the next hour and a half watching your favorite TV series that one short clip reminded you of. And somehow the whole evening just disappears. And this pattern repeats. You do finish what's necessary, but what about the things that aren't strictly necessary? The ones that would make a huge difference in steering your life towards your dream shape. There's no one to push you on those except yourself. So, am I saying meditation is going to magically fix that? Well, not really. If you start meditating, your mind won't go miraculously quiet, or you won't gain endless will, or Superman's focus, or Buddhist total calm, or endless motivation. What meditation actually does is train your brain, your focus, and your attention like muscles in the gym. Over time, you start to become more aware, like an observer watching things happen from a healthy distance. And as an observer who watches, understands, and evaluates the situation, has far more power to influence it than someone who is too deeply submerged in it and who's being dragged around by automatic reactions without ever noticing they always have a choice. So that's the famous magical window. Meditation is not a miraculous recipe for overcoming procrastination or fulfilling all your dreams instantly. It won't do the hard work for you, but it will definitely give you more opportunities to step in, direct your life where you actually want it to go. Let's look at an example of what this training usually looks like, so you are not surprised and don't end up thinking it's just not working for you. Every time you sit down, even for a single minute, and do nothing but observe what's going on in your mind, you start to notice that your brain keeps up a never-ending chit-chat of thoughts, ideas, desires, and distractions just to keep you busy. It's like a little puppy. Every 2 seconds, it runs somewhere new, does something, sniffs over there, pees over here, chews on your shoe, and this and that. Just like your mind. Oh, a notification. Oh, the laundry. Oh, tomorrow's worries and yesterday's argument. Or that embarrassing thing I said 3 years ago. Meditation isn't about punishing this restless puppy. And it's not about yelling at it. It's not about teaching the puppy to never run away. That's nearly impossible. Meditation simply teaches you to gently bring it back again and again. For example, you sit down and focus on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. And then you notice your mind. Did I forget to text my friend about that book he borrowed 3 years ago? And you gently come back. Oh, I just wanted to breathe. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out. Ooh, that catchy song from the radio this morning. And suddenly thoughts start chaining. That song was my favorite when I met that person at that party. We hang out a few times until I met his creepy roommate. Honestly, who breaks spaghetti in half when they cook it? I'd love some bolognese right now. Wait, where was I? Breathe in, breathe out. See how easily it piles up? Over time, this meditation muscle gives you a little space from your thoughts. You might start noticing them as they occur, and suddenly they start falling apart instead of layering on top of each other. The result is a much calmer mind, not that it never speaks up. You have every right to use your mind. It's a wonderful tool for creativity and building your life. But just as easily, we can become its slaves. When intrusive thoughts constantly return, exhausting us, or keeping us awake at night. This distance and the simple ability to notice and come back starts creating space, perspective, and even the understanding that these are just thoughts. Many of them will never come true. We don't have to believe them all, act on them, or shine the spotlight of our conscious attention on every single one. We can focus on what we are doing, what we want, and just let the rest be. The goal is definitely not to create some twisted resistance towards thinking. Resistance is just the other side of the same coin. It gives thoughts unnecessary energy and attention, and whatever we pay attention to grows. The second huge realization about meditation is discovering the lie of urgency and the impulse reaction pattern that controls far more of our lives than we'd ever like to admit. Let's look at another example, which I call the endless itch. If you ever tried to meditate, you might have noticed that the moment you sit down and try to be still and quiet, a million impulses, needs, and distractions suddenly show up, almost as if they are intentionally trying to sabotage you. So you sit down, and almost immediately you notice an itchy spot. Without even realizing it, your hand automatically reaches out to scratch it. You might not even notice doing it, but simply because your goal was to sit still, you suddenly think, wait, who on earth gave my hand permission to do that? That's it. We are so used to immediately reacting to an impulse or urge by fulfilling it, giving our body a quick hit of good feelings or happy hormones, that this loop, once good for surviving, goes on and on. Now back to the itch, but through the lens of meditation. So you scratch it, and a moment later there's another itch. But maybe this time you notice it before the automatic reaction happens. And suddenly there's this little window of choice, the magical window. Notice how you wouldn't even have a choice without first noticing what's going on. See? So now you can choose. Am I going to scratch it, or will I stay still and stop believing its urgency? Especially in the beginning, it's really hard to resist these impulses and urges. But just noticing the urge and choosing to react on it consciously is a huge improvement over an automatic reaction. So maybe this time you scratch it consciously. But then another itch appears. Maybe this time you don't lift your hand. You keep breathing in and out. It's still itching. And it feels very urgent. After a while, it pushes you so hard that you feel like you trade your kidney just to get rid of it. But you let it be. You remain undisturbed, feeling it, noticing it, until it simply goes away on its own. That's the secret. These days, we aren't fighting for our survival every second, yet we keep consciously following this deeply learned survival pattern. So instead of controlling our own lives, we are often controlled by random impulses without ever questioning whether they are relevant or if they are leading us where we actually want to go. Meditation helps tremendously in regaining the control and understanding these impulses. And every time you choose not to scratch every single itch, it becomes easier to simply let things pass. Where can this magical window of quantum possibilities take you? In meditation, you kept coming back to your breath. You didn't scratch every itch, and then in real life, suddenly, you don't feel the need to answer every message immediately. You don't have to yell back at your colleague or your partner. You feel the surge to argue or say something hurtful, but instead, you soften your voice and think your answer through. You feel a wave of resistance towards writing that bachelor's thesis, but you choose curiosity or willingness to help get you through it instead. One day, you might even be able to choose love or kindness over protecting your ego. And maybe you'll realize that while you were quietly building your inner core, the apps showed up too. Thanks for listening.